The protagonist breaks the barriers of the usual main characters as he is a monster. In his previous life, was a human and after an untimely death reincarnates as a monster. The pitfall which you are looking for to make this manga enjoyable is that he is born as an extremely low-level goblin. He still has the memories of his previous life. And this helps in gathering power. This manga has a video game setting implied in the fantasy world. Ro regularly devours more beings to gain XP and thus evolves into a mightier being. The manga deals with many dark themes. Topics like a harem, involuntary sexual practices, cannibalism, and breeding. The story is fun to read. The journey of Ro is full of surprises and always leaves you curious as to what will happen next. The fight scenes are quite delicate, and if you are into dark, ripping off head type stuff, then this is good to read. The story is about a fantasy world where a fight between a demon and a hero leads to the demise of a whole classroom because of dimensional imbalance. All the dead reincarnates due to unusual circumstances leading to their death. Most of the children and teachers reincarnate as usual human beings. However, some unlucky people reincarnate as monsters. Our protagonist, Kumoko, is one of them and reincarnates as a giant spider. Kumoko starts like a shy girl who, as a means to escape her loneliness, plays video games. When the world turns upside down due to the stated above reasons, she gets into an RPG-type world. She understands how she is gaining experience and thus does her best to survive. The plot at the moment seems non-existent though. As you stick with the story, you figure the shape out. There are many comedy moments, and it is refreshing to read. This manga also has the Isekai theme. You are going to follow the main protagonist who died excessive amounts of playing games and then reincarnated in the world of fantasy. He gets the worst body and is born not in the best family. However, he vows to be the best one. You will see as he starts the intense and challenging journey. Let this emotional manga bring you to the fantasy world. A college girl who is insanely in love with books dies and reincarnates in a world where the literacy rate is too low. To make matters worse, she can't even afford to buy a book. And then she decides to write a book herself and become a librarian. The characters are delightful, and the story is so heartwarming. If you can afford to read a reincarnation manga with a slice of life story, then add this one to your list. Ariane Uriana and her twin brother are reborn as prince and princess in a fantasy world, but instead of having a luxurious life, they are left in the care of an abusive mother. Later on, they're thrown into the royal palace, and the true struggle begins. Stories of old tell of 4 otherworldly heroes, wielding the sword, spear, bow, and shield, who defended the land from wave after wave of calamity. With the fate of the world in balance, the kingdom of Melromark summons these legendary figures. In modern-day Japan, the call is answered, and the unwitting heroes are transported to this fantasy universe. Shield hero Otaku Naofumi Iwatani is labeled the weakest due to his lack of offensive capability and apparent inexperience. When the heroes part ways to start their journeys, he only has one willing companion, the beautiful Princess Malti Melromark. However, she soon betrays him, steals all his money, and accuses him of taking advantage of her for his alleged crimes. Now Fumi is branded a criminal and made outcast of society. With hatred filling his heart, he sets out alone, vowing vengeance against those who wronged him. Rudy is the son of famous adventurers. He has the ability to use powerful magic, even at his young and tender age. He even manages to successfully pull off a casting spell, even before knowing how to read properly. His parents are indeed proud, but the others around him are scared. They think his powers can be destructive and unlimited. However, his magical talent comes from him being reincarnated. In his past life, he was bullied. In his past life, he never had the chance to feel or experience love. He finally gave up. With no reason to live, he is killed by a reckless truck driver one day. He is reincarnated into a world of magic, and he promises himself that he will become a better person than he ever was before. Now he has loving parents and a chance to be happy, so will his new life be better than his last? Athanasia is a beautiful young woman who is killed at the hands of her own father, Claude d'Alger Abelia. He is a cold-hearted emperor. In actual fact, the story of Athanasia is just a book story. That is until a young woman wakes up to find she has become the Princess Athanasia. She needs to figure out a plan to survive in her new world. Plan A would be to live quietly, hopefully staying under the Emperor's radar, or Plan B would be to somehow collect enough money to be able to escape the palace. Her last option is Plan C, sweet-talking her way into her father's favor. Mikami is a middle-aged man. His life really hasn't gone exactly to plan. He has never had a girlfriend and he is stuck in a dead-end job. His life is tragically ended when he is stabbed to death in the middle of the street. He wakes up, finding himself at the center of a world that resembles a fantasy RPG. Unfortunately, he isn't reincarnated as a powerful wizard or brave knight, but instead, he is reincarnated as slime. King Grey rules over a world governed by martial arts. He has unrivaled strength, prestige and wealth. Despite all of this, he is all alone, always finding himself in solitude. Although he appears as a powerful, he dies, and is reincarnated into a world full of monsters and magic. He has a chance to redo his life. He wants to right all the wrongs from his previous life. But to make things more interesting, the seemingly peaceful new world has a secret. Underneath all the prosperity is a danger threatening to destroy everything he has worked for in his new world. He needs to defeat this evil and make sure his new life, and everything he has worked for, is protected and meaningful.